Triumph Over Targeting podcast. It's October 26, 2017. Tonight we have some interesting topics to discuss. And first off, we're going to discuss the Unity and Hope Conference. And we have Allison here, and she's going to share kind of a review of how it went and what else we can do for next year. And she's just going to give some input on that. From what I understand, it was very successful. So we're very, very, very proud of her. I'm personally just delighted she's part of the community, and I'm so proud of her for what she's done. So, hi, Allison.
Hey, Ella, thanks. You're so sweet.
No, it's just the truth, and I know so many people feel the same way. Really quickly, though, if you're new to the call, please stay on, and we will get some additional support, some additional TalkShoe podcast numbers, and hopefully some helpful links and websites. This is a solutions and educational-based podcast, but the views and opinions of my guests are not necessarily my own personal views and opinions. My goal is that everyone can obtain something out of tonight, especially a feeling of empowerment. If you have any suggestions, comments, questions, or especially if you're new to the call and in need of additional support, please don't hesitate to email me at tiangel2016@gmail.com. Again, that's tiangel2016@gmail.com. If you'd like to participate in the conversation, you star 8, and when I come to you and I get to your to where you're at, you'll hear a prompt letting you know you're being unmuted, so you don't have to sit there and wait. And then at that point, you can join the conversation. So, anyway, thank you, Allison.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I mean, I don't have much to say. I kind of. Derek shared a letter that I had just sent, to some different people in the community. I think overall the conference went really well. There was, I'd love to open up the floor, and, I sent out a anonymous, survey thing I handed out just, during the conference just for feedback. I'd love to open up and just, see if there's, what people thought was good, wasn't good, if there's anything that people thought that was shared that was misinformation or not accurate, or, it does become challenging. Sometimes I feel like there's a lot of opposing viewpoints, but I think the whole point is just to open the floor up to everybody and anybody who, feels like they have some good ideas to share, some resources, and, just try to combine our efforts. I mean, that's the whole point, is just to work together in a cohesive manner, to collaborate, to, work together as a community. I mean, I said one of the main things that, I think that I got from the conference is I no longer feel like a targeted individual. I feel like a not even a targeted community. I feel like a empowered community. I think that if we just join together and collaborate and share our resources and ideas, I think we're much better off to try to figure out what this is, to try to fight back and expose what's happening to us. So, if anyone ever has anything that they're doing, that you want help with, that, please let me know. I want to help everybody else's efforts to fight the best that I can. If anybody has ideas of how to fight better, if anybody has ideas of things that we can do differently, anybody's doing like an affidavit collection or, any other kind, I'm hoping more people will follow suit and do, a lot of people are starting to do more protests. I saw Jami Ali was doing something in April. I was trying to RSVP for that. I think the more of us that just start doing active stuff, getting out there, the better. So if there's anybody that's doing anything that, wants help, please let me know. And, we just got to continue the momentum from here.
Some people don't get Derek's letter because you have to pay in order to get the newsletter. So can you give a quick synopsis? Basically, I'm sure you're probably saying something very similar to what you said, but I haven't read it either. So. Yeah.
If you give me a minute, I could probably pull it up. But, yeah, if anybody has, in the meantime, any ideas or, here it is right here. I can read it if you want. There was a picture that got sent out of everybody that was there.
I saw that. Oh, that was wonderful. It was so nice to see faces.
Here is one letter. I don't know who wrote this letter. Many connections were made. Seems to be the feeling of community since this event happened. It's not surprising that this is the most important work accomplished when we meet, is most important work is accomplished when we meet in person. Dr. Matt Aaron and Peter Rosenholm were great at hosting and keeping the event flowing smoothly. Margaret did a tremendous job again in helping with the organization, as well as the kitchen work volunteers organized running smoothly. Neil's song played the guitars enjoyed by all, some to the point of tears. Meals and accommodations, most of all networking, camaraderie were what impressed the most people about this event. Then there was an after party at Peter's Place in Rhode Island where people fellowshipped a couple days further, lounging at the beach, partying, socializing, which is becoming a regular hangout for New England TIs. All of this, of course, is wonderful for the morale and the suffering individuals in the community. Everyone is now looking forward to the next year's conference, which will probably be held on the West Coast next October. I now share with you the following. So this is my email. So just an update for the past weekend's conference. I feel the conference was a huge success. I'd love to hear any constructive criticism for those that attended. Handed out an anonymous survey of what people liked, didn't like, what we could do better next year. I didn't get many back. I got a few back, and I did get some ideas from them. I didn't notice anyone that I specifically thought was a perp or an agent or, whatever. But I don't really know how you're able to tell necessarily. So, I think that since it's free and it's open to the public, it's going to be, challenging to really vet people. But as long as everybody is respectful of everybody and, many did seem a bit on edge. So that was kind of the one concern that, there was a lot of misinformation leading up to the event. And there was kind of a level of paranoia, I think, in the beginning, and then kind of people, realized that it was a safe environment. We did have some media coverage. So there was a woman from Wired magazine who's writing an article on targeted individuals. So I'm hoping we get painted in a credible light. And if there's anybody that really wants to share their story, get in touch with her, get in touch with me, and, maybe I can put you guys in touch as well. I think one of the biggest successes is that we just came together as a community, cooking the meals. We were carpooling each other, helping people get to and from the event. So we all chipped in. I mean, I don't even know how I would have done it without the help of the kitchen crew, Jay and Margaret and Kate and Carol and, obviously like Sean and Matt and Peter for their like AV stuff and, Anne and, everybody that just chipped in and helped out so much. We had live presentations from Matt Aaron, David Voigt, Sean Andrews, Desiree Foley, Midge, Peter, Nathan Weatherden, Frank Allen, Neil Chevry, Richard Lighthouse, Kate Lighthouse. We had video presentations from Paulo Fiora, Dr. Paul Marco and Mindy, Karen Stewart, Magnus Olson, Shellen, Ella Terry Brewer, Brian Cochran, Derek Robinson, John Hall, Roseanne Marie Schneider, approximately 60 to 70. I should try to go back through and try to get like a more exact head count, but I know a lot more people. There was like 125, I think, that RSVP'd. So there was definitely some fallout. So we had lots of extra food left over.
Oh, wow.
People, attended the event. There's a lot of people that kind of came and went. Like not everybody stayed for the whole time. So it was both Saturday and Sunday. So like I said, I'd love to hear feedback. What people think was successful. I think the agenda could have been a bit more organized. We had an agenda typed out and we really didn't follow it. There was, a lot of late video submissions, last minute people that were supposed to present that didn't, and then last minute people, who came that were a huge surprise and excellent contribution. And then, people that provided videos kind of last minute or, people that said they were going to provide and didn't. So, we kind of like adjusted the agenda on the fly. Also, many of us, myself included, we did somewhat feel for our safety. There was a little bit of an issue. There was I think it really kind of stemmed around some of the misinformation that was passed around about the conference. So myself personally, I was, kind of targeted and harassed by, it was pretty much like just one specific person really that, was, very adamant that I was somebody that I wasn't. So I just tried to, stay strong. I just told myself, okay, he's just being tortured like myself. He's paranoid, scared, doesn't know who to blame. I understand. I've been there. I've been in his shoes, especially the first year when you're first getting hit and you have no idea who the hell is doing this to you or why, and you lash out and it's like this. I think I've kind of progressed from, you go from trust no one in the very beginning, like you literally think everybody, like your family, your boss, everybody around you is the one that's doing it to you. I've kind of come to a point in the past 2 years where now I just trust everybody from like the other extreme, I think. But I understand because I was there too at one point, So, just try to talk rationally and, I guess it is what it is. We might have to look next year at like maybe a little bit of additional security or, something just for some extra protection if it does get bigger.
Right.
But other than that, I truly hope that people got out of it and, thought it was helpful. I think just the act of coming together is helpful. Shows and conference calls and everything are great, but, call me old-fashioned, but I think there is a value in face-to-face interaction with people, And then, as to the presentations and debates, like I was saying, the technology involved is very challenging, and it's difficult for us to know, like, what is accurate and what is, information sometimes. So I think the point is to just listen to all the viewpoints, be respectful, and then, we just kind of form our own opinions from there on what we think is accurate and what we think is helpful, and just, share all the resources and the research that we've all done. And, together I think we're better positioned to try to figure everything out and figure out what we can do to protect ourselves and expose it. And again, I think one of the most positive things that came out of it was just, the feeling of coming together as a community, making lifelong friendships and helping each other, besides the few misguided people, who would receive some information online or through misguided emails. I just, there was so many positive vibes and just feeling of community and togetherness.
Yeah, everyone was so happy to meet people, and it's so important, the happiest day of my targeting experience was when I went to the library to go to a support group, and I had talked to a woman, and she met me there, and it was the first one I saw. It just was so special, and we still have a really special bond ever since then, and it really is a special experience to do so and to see people. So I'm just really happy, and again, I'm so proud of you. I admire you. You have so many other things going on. You have a job. You're targeted, you have a family, and you're doing all this, and I'm just so impressed, and I think the whole community is just, it's just the truth, really. I'm really impressed. And we do have someone on the call. She can't stay too long, but I want to discuss the conference for a little bit more here, and then we can go to Desiree, who has some things that we're going to share with everybody. She does have to go somewhere, so we actually kind of crunched on time, but we can kind of go back and forth if it's okay. So I also have Yaya on the line. Do you want to jump in, Yaya?
Yeah, I think we owe Allison a great deal of gratitude because she did it, right? I mean, it looked like it wasn't going to come together, and by golly, she held, she was steadfast, and she did it, and so I think it was quite remarkable. And the people who showed up were just, I can't say enough about it, to fellowship with fellow TIs and people that you've been conversing with over the Internet and talking to over the phone. To see in person is just incredible. And guess what? Everyone is so normal and so nice and caring. All the way down from, like you said, Allison, to everybody in the kitchen, to Matt, who's just a joy, and Sean. They all worked so hard. All the guest speakers were wonderful, but no one would ever guess that there were some little glitches. I think we kind of went on the fly, and everything really came together in a very classy, wonderful way. But more importantly, friendships were made. Incredible bonds were created. To see someone face to face and to hug them. I got to see the ladies that I was scanned with. I had not seen them since I was scanned. That was almost 2 years ago. To see them and to know that this is real and true and that we don't deserve this. It's incredible fellowship, and to share ideas and to know that we can do this. We can come together and we can do this as a group, and we can prevail. This is just one in the series of many conferences. I just know it. And so, Allison, my hat off to you, because I know you're a young mother. I know you have a full-time job. And I just can't thank you enough. I'm just so grateful. I actually just got home today. I actually went home with Kate Ryan, which I have stayed with Kate before. And we just couldn't say enough about the conference. It was just incredible. I met so many wonderful people, and who I know will be lifelong friends. The only thing that I wish I had more time is I wish we had more time to sit around over coffee and chit-chat and share stories and ideas, and be it informal. So maybe the next one we can have a session of donuts and coffee and have some non-structured time. And that's the only thing I can say. But also, there was one person there that was, giving Allison a little bit of problem. It is such a disservice for anyone to try to do that, divide and conquer, to keep TIs apart. I was so upset with what I saw on Facebook. Why would anyone go on Facebook and try to destroy what Allison was trying to do and calling people perps? That just made me so angry and irresponsible. Okay, so someone who read that then kind of kicked out at Allison. It was so wrong. And guess what? Somebody said that we were going to lose our souls. No, our souls are more enriched for being there. And so I wish that people wouldn't listen to all that disinformation. I hope that we all continue to move forward as a community, knowing that we can overcome this and we are going to win. So those are just my thoughts. But, everyone had each other's backs there. We had one lady who was driving in from New York Saturday night. She had just lost her father-in-law, had just buried him traumatically. It was a traumatic situation. And she got lost, and a bunch of us hopped in a car. And Steve Baisden, I hope you all get to know him. He's a wonderful person. It was his first time to really meet anybody. We all went and found this TI out on the interstate and brought her back. And it's like Steve said, no one gets left behind. And we can't. Yeah. We have to help each other.
Oh, yeah. Honestly, shame on you for trying to keep people from coming to this conference. And then one of the people that read that was like kind of threatening, saying, I read you guys are perps, and it's scary.
Awful. I'm just so angry that happened.
Shame on anybody who would do that to a community when it was successful, it was informative, it was bonding, it was amazing. I was there, I had a friend, a sweet woman, she had me on speaker the whole time. I could hear everything, and I could, and I was talking to people, and, it would have been lovely to be there myself, but I have physical limitations, and I have a family, and I knew I wasn't going to be able to come, but boy, it would have been really special. And everyone I talked to is just so moved and a better person, or I don't know if that's the word. They're just, their life has been enriched by the experience.
It has been, yes. I'm sorry to get so emotional, but how can you not after something like that? I mean, it was such a moving experience. I mean, we are to get emotional. We owe that to each other, to ourselves. We have the right, and so it has empowered me. I hope it has empowered everybody else. So,
hi, can I say a few words?
Sure.
Hi, Yaya. This is Matt. Hi, Allison.
I'm sorry, Matt. You're lovely, by the way. You're so adorable.
Thank you. I would like to also just quickly thank Allison for taking the initiative, and obviously the thanks are due to all the other people that were working sort of more behind the scenes with Allison, and it's really inspiring when people in our community take initiative like that. And I agree with everything, all the values that you guys said. I think we can improve on our forward-facing professionalism in terms of media and stuff like that. I didn't do as good of a job on the media as I wanted to, but we can. There's room for improvement. But in addition to all the value that you guys are pointing out, one serious value of this event to me is that if we keep doing this every year, and hopefully it won't peter out and it will just grow and become more serious and more professional, can you imagine that is actually a force to be reckoned with, and we will just get more media coverage every time. And, can you imagine like the second annual, third annual, fourth annual, there's 500 people there. That's going to be something that's going to just really contribute to getting exposure. And I know that we all want a quick fix to this, but I think the reality of this complex situation is that it's going to take effort and possibly some time, and we have to have determination. So this is an event that I'm going to contribute to every year, and I just encourage people to get on board with this. And we have to all do what Allison did, and many of us have to take initiative, make this happen, and we have to make it an annual event. We really do. Okay, that's all.
Yes, we do.
Thank you, Matthew. Appreciate it. So anyway, this was a really, this is a positive. There's this thing called Roses and Thorns they do, when you're working with kiddos or doing treatment or whatever the case may be in my worlds that I've worked in. And this is the roses. And we do, because of time constraints, we do have to go into another topic, which makes me very sad and disheartened, and I'm very disappointed in this particular situation, which we'll go into. But, I just really, really want to give credit and kudos to all the amazing speakers. Who's that? To all the amazing speakers and to everybody. And, I hope next year more of us can go. If it's on the West Coast, I probably can go. But we'll see how it goes. I don't know where it's going to be next year. But just want to say thank you, Allison, from the bottom of my heart. And, thank you for finding a place for people to come together and to meet and to have such a, life-changing, positive experience in a world that's full of negativity and darkness.
Thanks, Alice.
That's good.
Thanks. Okay,
so all supporting each other's endeavors. I think that's the important thing. As long as we try to all get involved in everything everybody else is doing.
Yeah, I agree. It's unification, and I know there are certain people who can get really paranoid, and some people just don't even question themselves. Without humility, we don't like. I like to question all my thoughts and maybe be able to take in new information and change my opinion. And I have a place of humbleness. If you're humble and you have a sense of humility, you connect to everybody. And so your opinion is your opinion, but you're always willing to listen to someone else's point of view to possibly change it or to check your perception. And there are personalities that think they're always right no matter what. Nothing you say is going to change your opinion because they may feel a little bit more superior. They just may be not. They may feel very sure of themselves. Maybe they're a little self-righteous or whatever. I don't know. Just there's different personalities that have these certain characteristics that make it hard for them to adjust their opinion after they take in new information. And those type of personalities see what they want to see. If they want to see something negative, they're going to see something negative because that's how a mind like that works. So, just give people a chance. Come from a place of, openness and this is a chance, this whole experience is a chance for us to grow. I don't want to use the word spiritual, but I will, on a spiritual level to become more deeply compassionate, because when people suffer, they have deeper connections with people and they become a better person oftentimes from suffering. Through trials and tribulations and struggling, usually that's when the best person can emerge. Of course, there's the other side too, because we're on the defense, we're distraught, we're feeling ill, we're being victimized, so there's that too. But in the face of that, we can still grow with people, and we can still maintain an open mind so we can grow and have everyone told me like 10 years ago, there was just a bunch of crazy stories. Barbara Gillette said this. She goes, people just talk nonsense. They didn't know what they were talking about, but there was nothing on the Internet to even grasp. And so over time, things have evolved and things have become more specific, and now we have patents and there's a better understanding. So that's the evolution. You need to let your own stories evolve with the new information, and to be open-minded but firm at the same time. We need boundaries, but we need to keep ourselves safe, but we want to be open to new information, or adjust your information because someone seems to know a little bit more about something and they have credentials, whatever the case may be. You might take that into consideration to change your viewpoint. But my opinions are still fluid. I'm always willing to take in new information to see if I need to adjust a belief or my current state of belief. So anyways, but my number one thing is to be supportive, to give education, to connect people, and to have unification, in a positive way, the best we can, considering all the crap, we have to be so careful with everybody around us. So I just want it to be a safe place, too, having a safe place to go. And it sounded like it was really safe relatively, minus one person. So that's a great experience for people to get together. And, hopefully there'll be more, people like we should have one every month, but it's a lot to do. I've heard something like that on another call. So, but we'll work on those things. But anyways, I have to move on to the other topic, and this topic we're going to be discussing is Brian Coffrin. And it came to my attention maybe day before yesterday that Kyle Vulcan Wolverine heard a video that was on gangstalkerwars.com, and it kind of raised some flags because it sounded like he was interviewing himself, like there was just an accent. So it kind of raised, we had this discussion. We were a little concerned, why is this guy doing this? It was like him supposedly interviewing a deep state insider. And it was very clear to me because of timbre, cadence, all these different things, and the words chosen. And, I listen. I'm talking to people. I'm really into sounds, into voices and things like that. And it seemed pretty obvious to me and to most people that it was him interviewing himself. And so... And with that said, he's been staying with a woman who's been very kind to take him in, and there's been some alarming things or things that cause questions. So his character became in question at this point. Why is he trying to, pull the wool over our eyes and make us think he's interviewing this deep state guy? And you're welcome to go on it. Again, it's at gangstalkerwars.com. And so do we have you here, Desiree?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, here's some background noise.
Oh, sorry. That might be for some reason my text messages likes to ring really loud.
Okay, my dear. So,
okay.
You had heard, I guess a few days prior to that, you had heard, not even knowing about the interview, but it's a small world, we all talk to one another, and you had, heard that, you had told me that you had heard a few days prior to that he was practicing a Boston accent. So do you want to share a little more information about that?
Well, I actually heard him doing the interview, and he was making it loud enough so I can hear him, and I did let him know that I was hearing it because I got up on my bed and I slammed my door, to show, like, come on, what are you doing? I just thought he was just messing around because I just came back from Boston, so that's where he got it from, is that I just came back from Boston, so he said, hey, I'm going to interview a Boston guy. I didn't really pay too much attention to it. I mean, I told maybe one or two, people. I was like, yeah, he's in the other room interviewing himself. I don't know what he's doing, but it's weird. But whatever, whatever you do on your free time. But I have to kind of really be careful on what I say. So a lot of things I am going to hold back on, only in fear of him retaliation. And why I say that is because somebody broke into my house today, and somebody rigged the door, and I'm saying this on recording so he knows that I know that it was rigged so he can get back in here when I'm not here. And it was like he put a quarter into, like, the door, and you guys know is I don't get gang stalked anymore, and all of a sudden I get kicked out and somebody breaks in. They broke the lock on my screen door, and somebody, I don't know if they came in. I don't have any evidence that it came in, but other than my screen door being broken, where you don't even have to use a key to open it. You just can stick your fingernail and turn it, and it unlocks it. So I'm just going to be really careful on what I say.
You had heard this, and I add some clarity for people. You had heard him doing the accent, and also, some of his behavior was a little bit odd, but you were very caring, and you gave him a place to stay, and you were feeding him and everything. And so you had heard him doing that, and then you had heard about the interview, and then you were uncomfortable around him. He sensed that you were upset about something. And then the next day you left and came back to your home, and he was gone. Everything was gone, even the food. And there was just a flash drive left that you found. And I know you went to go check. So after you knew he left, and then maybe he caught on to the fact. Go ahead.
Ella, I don't want to. No, I did not find a flash drive. I thought it was his, but it was something of mine. Okay, yeah, I did not find I thought it was his, and I went in there and I looked, and it was stuff of my something that I must have just mistaken that it was his. But he later came back. He later came back to my house, and he said he had left some stuff because he had took all his stuff, knowing that I was upset. And when he came to the door, I said, "Brian, what the heck? Why did you do that?" And he goes, "Oh, I'm just trying to get a rise out of people." And I said, you sound schizophrenic. I said, you sound like, you're doing it on purpose. He goes, "Oh, I'm just trying to, put some creativity into the organization." And I said, "No, that's weird." And I go, "That's just so weird why you would do something like that." And he goes, "It's Hollywood." And then he goes, I just wanted everybody to, hear another side." I said, "That's not another side. That's you. That's you talking." And then he's like trying to convince me that he's from Boston. And I said, "No, you're not from Boston." He goes, "No, but I watch a lot of Boston movies. That's why that's how I got my accent. I've been trying to, hide my accent, So he was trying to convince me that he's crazy. He's not crazy. And this is a personal theory. I don't know, but I mean, if anybody can come up with a theory, it would be me, because I know him more than anybody. I think he purposely did it to discredit himself.
Or you thought maybe he's just a really, really good con man.
Oh, that crossed my mind too. Is that he, conned us for money. He needed money, and he conned us and needed, took a lot of money from the community, and you took a lot from me, letting him stay here and, providing for him and trusting him in my house, especially when I went to Boston. And I don't understand why he's doing this. I really don't. And I try to talk to him, and he was just giving me like funny answers, like it was a joke, like it was funny. And I know him. He's not, all that was done on purpose. That's why when I got home, all his stuff was gone, was because he knew that, he had to leave. He knew I was going to end up kicking him out because it was weird and I was uncomfortable. And I was just thinking, oh my gosh, you've been playing us this whole entire time. And I said, what did I get myself into? I'm being targeted again because of you. And, but as far as, do I think that I honestly think that he did it on purpose to discredit himself and to step away from the community. And I think that everybody should pull all of his videos, and anything to do with Brian, we should pull from the internet, and, the donations need to stop.
Yeah, the donations have got to stop. I talked to a lot of people, as you guys know, and I gave over 100. I know another woman gave 200, another person 150. When I totaled up with just the people I speak to, it's probably close to about $1,500, $1,600 working on $2,000. And that's just the people I know. People really reached in and gave a lot. I gave more to him than I've given to most people. Well, there's another person I gave way more, but so it's just, he came in. I believe he's targeted, and I wondered if he was on drugs. Someone thought maybe he was on drugs because of his appearance and because of his effect and all these different things. And but I just let it go. I used to be a drug and alcohol counselor, so I get feelers. And so and I was just worried about some of his character, because if you guys remember, when I first heard about him, I was on the defense, and I pulled his report, his criminal background, and I'm sure you guys remember, and I got a lot of slack for that. People were very angry that I was trying to vet him before he came into the community. But I too felt after I heard him talk, I believed him. Because Desiree told me I think he's really targeted for. She didn't say I think. She goes, he's definitely targeted. So I thought, okay, I was being paranoid, whatever. And I felt really bad about it. But I should have just.
Well,
but I also
can I say something? Ella, sorry, can I say something? I checked out what he said with my research. And I know he's targeted, and he has worked for some companies who are involved in this. And the information he gave checked out, and it has helped with what I do, which has led to something very significant. I just want to point that out. Okay, I'm not standing up for him. I don't agree with what he's done.
Yeah.
But I just want to say that, perhaps we were vulnerable, and that's okay. But there's something positive that came out of it, at least for me. And I met him in person. I gave him money as well. But, sometimes people bring on their own misery. So maybe there are some things going on that we don't know about. But beyond that, I do believe what he said is true. Because it does check out, yes. And Desiree lives with him. So we take the good, okay? We take the good. And we focus on the positive, and that's it.
And he also told people, though, he did work as a gang stalker, and that's kind of what I believe he said to me the first conversation, but then I put that on the thing, and he said, oh, take that part down. I'm an insider. So the story kind of changed. No,
that's not true. We have to call it like it is. We have to tell the truth. And so we just take the positive, and there is some positive from it. We just be, very discerning, and everyone did their part, and so we just learn from it and just move forward.
Yeah, but it was important that we knew that he actually worked on the other side.
Yes, he did. Yeah,
things. He did do that, and
but I gave him two things to look at that I had researched, and he marked off some things that were very, very important that brought together is something very significant that I have not shared with anyone. And so I just want to point that out. And it's something that I did present at the conference, and so it kind of solidified something extremely important, which Richard Lighthouse is encouraging me to publish. So I am going to start publishing my information. He has told me that I'm underestimating what I have. And so he has been very encouraging. And so anyhow, so we just have to, like I said, take the positive and let's just move on. And it's not nice what's happened. It's not good.
Yeah, but there's a lot of people who thought he was going to be our hero.
Absolutely.
And there's a lot of
I know. Exactly. Well, and then taking people for their money and using it for something nefarious and not good, and it's not kind. I mean, I gave him money too, and so I don't have money to give like that.
Yeah, I know you don't.
So it's just bad. Yeah, it's just bad.
So maybe, and there's a few possibilities, and it's up to us to kind of wonder. I'm just kind of hurt, because I did finally get over by him, and a lot of people thought he was the hero, and I feel sad that he's deceiving us, and he's doing these weird videos, and I got a couple of different stories, and and then I'm concerned about Desiree now, and there's a lot of different things. I don't trust him, and I knew.
No, it's disturbing.
And the background. The background thing did bother me, especially something I saw in Washington, as I shared with you guys. So, and I did call Derek and tell him, before he talked to him. But, listening to Desiree, and I was very convinced he is targeted. And I know he must have a good side. And he helped you, Yaya. And maybe he was, who knows, maybe he did it, who knows why he might have done it on purpose. There's just no telling, But,
Des and I kind of think that while Des was gone to the conference that he was approached. And this is what happens oftentimes. Right, Des?
Something happened because Derek was going to pay for his ticket and put it on the organization's credit card. And everything was all set to go. He did not want to go. He wanted to stay here, which, of course, me being a TI, I was a little worried, like, why don't you want to go? Why don't you want to go with me. It's once in a lifetime kind of a deal. And he didn't want to go, and I was just kind of like wondering, like, what's going on? But it's like almost like he did this to discredit himself, or, because everything that he said, it can't be believable, especially now that he'd made that video. And it's still on there, even though after he knows that the community already knows about it. And then he said something to me which was really, it really bothered me when I was talking to him, and he goes, "You represent PACTS, don't you?" I said, "Yeah, I do." He goes, "So is this PACTS telling me that you don't want to work with me anymore?" And I said, "Wait a minute. I represent PACTS, but this right here, what's happening right now, this is my personal space and my personal life that is aside from PACTS." And I said, just because I'm telling you that, I don't want anything to do with you anymore and that you need to leave, that has nothing to do with PACTS. And it was like he almost wanted me to ban him. So that was the impression that I got from him, with him, telling me that, say, you represent PACTS. Is this PACTS talking? When I told him I don't want to be his friend anymore, because he lied, and he was playing mind games with me when I was talking to him, trying to convince me he's from Boston, and saying this is all Hollywood. Like, in other words, saying it's all an act. And I was like, okay, well, I'm sorry that this happened, and then he just said, okay, take care of yourself, don't work so hard. And I was like, okay, bye. And then I hadn't seen him, and of course, all things are like acting funny. And he was targeted. He had to been targeted, because the moment he came to my house, I started getting targeted with the technology. There's something to it. I believe that, it was like a revenge against his company, and he used us to get revenge on them, and then something happened where he changed his mind and wanted out of it. And that was the way to do it, to discredit him, to discredit himself.
Yeah, that's a possibility. Who knows? But the whole thing has just left me feeling really, uneasy and just sad and disappointed in the whole thing, because it's a lose-lose situation. Number one, it's discrediting that this is happening in our community. Now it looks foolish on our part. And then it's also, it's just sad on so many levels. It's just really disappointing. And I do hope he's okay. I hope he's not being blackmailed or whatever the case may be. I think he just sounds, because if he's doing like heavy-duty drugs, he's not thinking right anyways. But I know he's an intelligent man, and, who knows? We can only all speculate, and we're never going to agree on what might actually the case may be, but, it's just really sad. That's all. Matthew, did you want to jump in and say something?
I have a few thoughts on the matter, if you want to hear.
Sure, please do.
Well, I think this is a good learning lesson for us, because I think this kind of thing is going to happen. I mean, we want this to happen. We want people from the other side to come forward, and if we're really going to get exposure, if that's something we believe is going to happen, I believe it will happen, then this is going to happen more and more. So the question is, what are the lessons to be learned from this? And I'll try to keep it short. We could talk all night about this. There's many different things to say about this, but the key points that I take from this is that number one, we have to be a little bit smarter in how we are quick to accept one person as the hero who is going to expose this entire worldwide thing. That's just not a reasonable proposition, and we have to be discerning, because what Brian conned us and lied in a couple of ways. I'll be blunt about it. He lied at least twice. He lied in that video, and that video is not a joke. That's insulting, and that's serious. You can't joke about this issue, and you can't make an excuse and call it a joke. That was a lie. Whatever his motive was, that was a lie. And the second lie was when he was being interviewed, and he said to you, Ella, oh, I was never involved in the other side. Apparently that was a lie too. So when someone comes forward, now before we knew that was his character, when someone comes forward and makes all these assertions that are very outlandish sounding about the technology and says, I saw it from the other side, so I have inside information, and it's what many people want to hear, and then it's taken as validation. Well, that is a complete loss of objectivity and discernment. And everyone gets excited and goes down a rabbit hole. And those outlandish things, those outlandish claims, my opinion is we need to be doing less of that, because if we want to get the general public on our side, we need to take the bottom-up, careful, middle-of-the-road, reasonable approach, even if there is outlandish stuff going on. So now everything he said about the technology is everything he said actually is you don't know where the lies start and where the truth begins and where the truth ends when this situation happens, and it all becomes a big waste of time, and it changes a lot of people's perceptions in what I think is a negative way, because we start to talk about what I think are outlandish things that aren't supported by science. So that's one outcome of this, is that if we lose discernment because we have this high hopes, it can lead us down paths that are potentially destructive. I won't say more on that, because there's many different ways that scenario can play itself out. The second thing is we encourage people to come forward. We're not going to go on witch hunts. When people come forward, though, there's multiple ways to come forward. First of all, people that were involved in these crimes in whatever way they were, even if they were just part of an organization and then they realized that it was a criminal organization and they got out, there's many ways to do the right thing. One is you can just stop doing crimes and you don't have to make a big dramatic coming out about it. You can choose, if you're one of those gang stalkers, to just stop. That's one thing you can do. Another thing that you can do is that you can approach the community, and you don't need to disclose everything. You can apologize. You can start doing things constructively, but you don't need to elevate yourself to the person who's going to save us. That's an insulting way to approach the community if you want to start doing the right thing. But what I suggest the most, if someone wants to disclose and do the right thing, the most effective way for them to do that is to have integrity, honesty, and not grandstand. In other words, what Brian has done now, let's say Brian ever goes to the FBI as a witness. Let's say there's ever a landmark civil case. He will be laughed out of court because of what he's done. And so his coming forward he has completely destroyed any positive evidence he might offer to a court by acting like a moron. So what we suggest is, if someone wants to come forward, there's all these different options. We're not going to go on a witch hunt. We encourage that action. But if you really want to do things powerfully, stick to what you know, collect documentation, and start having integrity. Because when you act like a clown, everything you do is worthless. That's all I have to say.
Great. Very good.
Are you still there?
Oops. I don't know. Is Ella there?
Oh, I'm so sorry. I was speaking and I thought you guys were listening to me, but instead you guys were listening to just quiet. I was just going to say what I was saying the whole time I was on mute.
Very good.
What I said was, I'm sorry that this has happened in the community, and it really doesn't make us look good. And I don't know, was he sent in to make us look even worse? Was he blackmailed? Was he just coming in for money? Who knows? But whatever, we do look worse as a community, and I don't want to be negative. And, I don't want to be too positive because I know he helped out Yaya. I'm going to remain neutral for the most part, but I'm kind of erring on negativity because I feel this is a real blow. And I also feel from the people that I've talked to, some people really respect it. Some people are really hurt by this if, in fact, it's just a big con. So knowing that, so many people or a few people that I've spoken to are really disappointed in this news. So, and we don't really know unless he's going to come clean and tell us, but how can we believe him? How are we going to believe anything at this point? Matthew, you made good points. Thank you. Desiree, you lived with him, so you know some things as well. And I guess there's some information we won't share at this point, maybe down the road, because it is very important information, But I know your situation, I understand. We'll just keep it back for now. So do you want to share anything else? I know you have a class you got to get to.
Yeah, no, that's pretty much it. I got to get going because I got a class I got to get to. But
okay.
it was nice talking to everybody, and I was very hurt as well. He really hurt me. I put a lot into him, thinking that I was helping the community, and then at the same time I got targeted again, and I'm still being targeted, and it's because I welcomed him in my life, and then he goes and does something like this. It just makes me think like he hurts like other people that I could possibly help, because now I'm really not going to like offer my home to anybody else ever again.
And we're all going to be a little less generous. So hopefully, I'm not going to let this, I'm still going to give. But maybe someone who's been around a little longer. That's all.
Yeah, like I'm not going to let anybody live with me. I just can't do that. I've really, went out on the stretch here and try to help him out, and then it was taken away from my personal life, trying to live my life and then have him there, which was it completely destroyed my life, what I had going, my social life. But I did it, and I did it for the community because that's what I'm here. But now it's like I don't think I would ever do that again because of the situation I put myself in. And now I feel like I'm in danger as far as the break-in in the house, and then just like the funny stuff of being targeted again. And I was completely target free, and then now like I welcomed it back into my house.
Well, Desiree, I just want you to know that I admire your altruism. I know you did it to help everybody out in the community and to look out for him, and you fed him, you gave him. I just want to say thank you for being you, and I'm sorry it turned out to be this way.
Yeah, I'm sorry too, and thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Desiree.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
All right, guys. Mm-hmm. All right, guys. I will talk to everybody later.
Okay. Thanks, Desiree.
Okay. All right.
Okay,
all right.
bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, so, yeah, I learned that. Well, Kyle was the one that kind of brought it to my attention, and then I talked to so many people, and pieces started falling into place, and I was just like, oh, my goodness. So the why is still in question. I do think,
Hello, everybody.
Hi, Terry.
Sorry I'm late. I hope I didn't miss too much, but it's been interesting what I've heard, guys. But I do think you guys should seriously, if somebody comes forward, just got to check them out. But we can't give up on people if they do come forward. And this is unfortunate. And the ramifications could be greatly impacted. I think it's good, and I hope you're recording the call.
Yes.
Because outing him... Yeah, outing him in the beginning and before a media or somebody could get a hold of this, they could have had so much fun with this. It would be unbelievable, the damage that it would do to our community. And I want to say what Matt said earlier is really well spoken.
Yes, yeah, it was very well, wonderful response.
So, and don't feel, guys, I mean, at first I really liked him, and I passed out his CDs and stuff, and then I quit doing it, and I asked Ella for a bunch of other people's interviews because I quit passing his CD out because I had this weird hunch, especially with something that Matt said in talking to him on one time, and it was real interesting because I went back and listened to the recordings over and over and over, and if you guys do that, you can really pay attention to some of the things on there that he says that are big red flags that are just stick out like a sore thumb. It's just too bad it got caught late.
Yeah.
And, maybe we need to set up some type of protocol to really check people out to better in depth.
I did. I ran a background check, did everything. I did everything I could. But then again, when you have someone who's claiming to be a gang stalker or part of a company that does it, that's how it was reworded, you can't expect a great background. And there's going to be character issues. He's going to have, it's bad character at the very least. I don't know if maybe there's a reason why he did this intentionally and we don't know it. I want to give him some kind of benefit out, but how do we check someone out? If someone comes forward and they're claiming to be on the other side, I don't know how much check. They're obviously not very trustworthy to begin with if they got into that line of work. So it's tough, Terry. I don't know how to.
Point.
Yeah.
Well, maybe some of us leaders should sit down sometime and maybe try to work out some protocols like, background check, references that need to come forward and stuff. Do something maybe a little more in depth before some people start giving money, because I heard people talking and telling me in the last couple of days, and he got a lot of money from people in the community.
Yeah,
and that's not cool. That's not cool at all.
But we still want to encourage people to come forward, but maybe we just can't open up our pocketbooks to them because that might be an ulterior motive, and especially someone who might have possibly this drug issue, which we won't go into too much detail. There's some evidence of it. And then also, I just think if someone's going to come forward, great, we're all ears and we're not going to judge them. And I'm shocked. Everybody was very open and warm and receptive despite that he worked on the other side, although we didn't know how far, and a lot of people didn't know how far on the other side. But and there's more information that will come out in the future, too, which is pretty disappointing in regards to him. But, he helped Yaya out, so I'm glad there's a positive to it. And we do need to stay open. I mean, this is just my opinion, and I don't know. There's probably better opinions. I feel like we should stay open so people do feel comfortable to come and share, disclose that they worked on the other side. So. Yeah,
and the fact that you're recording this and this will go online, that also could deter people from playing games with the community in the future, knowing that they are being watched very closely by the people that they're supposed to be helping out. I just think it's a sad event, and I hope everybody goes away with this with something positive. I know that's a hard thing for some people to look at. I definitely have tried to. I did a lot of thinking yesterday about things because I get hit with 3 things at once. And we kind of brought this out and talked on my call on Tuesday. And we asked people, Ella and some others in the community, to join us and come talk to us. And overall, I think the community, from what I've seen so far, has handled this real well. And there's going to be people, guys, trust me, they're going to come forward. They're going to be legit in the near future, and they're going to help us out, and they're going to be very beneficial for us. So I encourage everybody to, look forward to what's coming and try not to dwell on the past or be down about this. And God bless you all. I actually got to go do something. I wanted to jump on and say hi. I wanted to join you guys earlier. But you all have a good evening. And Ella, I do need to talk to you tomorrow if you can give me a call.
Sure, no worries.
While we're on this topic, can I just say one more thing?
Sure.
Okay, this is my perspective. I'm not speaking for the community. This is my opinion. But I absolutely welcome people from the other side to come forward. I know that, or I don't know, I strongly suspect there's many pretty ordinary, decent people that got swept up into this this criminal business at a low level and probably feel bad about what they're doing. But my advice is my advice to the gang stalkers who have a change of heart is, first of all, I would strongly recommend that before you decide to stop what you're doing, even if because one option is to stop what you're doing and not make a big disclosure about it, just to stop what you're doing and start doing the right thing. But I recommend that people that are involved in this try to collect documentation of whatever they can of the communication network, the communications, any kind of record that they can make, and that is for your own good, because when these houses of cards start to come down, prosecutions may start, or investigations and prosecutions may start propagating, and for your own safety, you may want to keep that documentation so that you can cut deals with authorities. So you're much more effective at coming forward or stopping what you're doing for your own protection to keep documentation of what was going on. And then the other recommendation I have is if you do want to approach the community with inside information, don't publicly grandstand by doing a Spreaker, lecture on the entire scenario of information. That's not an effective way to come forward. That's the kind of coming forward that will impress the community and cause major waves and elevate you to a temporary hero. But it's not a good strategy for legal reasons. And if you really want to make contact with the community with inside information, it's probably better to do it through back channels, through some of the leaders who can be very careful and come and make a careful plan for how to make use of that information. Grandstanding is a red flag. I just wanted to say I really do encourage people who have a conscience to stop what they're doing, stop committing crimes against people, stop radiating people, stop torturing people. That's number one. And then for your own safety, document, keep documentation. You can do it in secret. You don't even need to tell us. That's just for when the storm comes, that's for your own, potentially for your own protection. And then if you do want to come forward, be smart about it and have integrity. Because if you try to pull the wool over our eyes and become an instantaneous hero through half-truths or lies, I mean, not only are you doing wrong to us and not really coming forward and helping us, but you're also completely invalidating any useful information you have by lying. Basically, that's how witnesses get torn apart in court. If their credibility gets thrown into question, then the question arises, which is in our minds now: what else was a lie? So anyway, to sum it up, there's we want people to start doing the right thing, and there's a smart way to do that for your own protection and for the benefit of the community. And that I'm speaking for myself, but I don't think anyone in the community would want to go prosecute a low-level person who was involved in this and is coming forward with useful information. However, that pass does not apply to any leaders who are ordering these hits on people. If you were one of those leaders, don't even try coming forward, because we're coming after you. There's no way we will accept your apology. We are coming after you if you were one of the leaders. So this like amnesty applies to the low level thugs who have a change of heart. Okay, I'll pass it back to you.
Well, the people at that high level would never, the personalities don't typically.
I'd like to second what Matt said, and I think we all should definitely lead people know, and probably as many of you that can talk up and she's recording this, say what we do encourage people to come forward about this crime, because that's one of the ways we're going to help bring it to light. And another Will said there, Matt. I got to go, guys, because I got stuff going on at the church. Like I said, God bless you all, and I hope you have a great evening.
Terry.
Good night.
Yes. Okay, guys, I'm going to start going down the row.
Take care, Terry.
Okay, I'm going to go down the row here. Okay, West Coast Angel.
Hey, Ella, I just had like a couple like really quick things to add, if I could,
Sure.
about the conference before. So sorry to come back to it. I'll try to be quick.
No, it's fine. Coming full circle. This is positive. This is the good stuff. This is the stuff that is benefit to the community. So
I just wanted to, there was a couple of other things that I mentioned in Derek's letter, that just had to do with explaining, I guess, my position on stuff.
Right.
So, one thing was just to explain why, I know there was a lot of controversy saying certain people involved or perps or certain people are not who they say they are. So, my position is just as a new victim, that I just literally invited everyone to be involved in the community. Anybody who had written a book, who had, had a website, who, made YouTube videos, just like everybody and anybody, that way, just because there is, because, various rumors about people like who say that they're not, I'm not going to, I refuse to believe that somebody isn't who they say they are just because I heard a rumor to the contrary. I think you just kind of have to come at it with a perspective of trusting everybody and I guess until you have personal reason why not to. I also want to really stress that this is nonprofit. I know that there's, some controversy for different organizations profiting off targeted individuals. And, it's really important for it to be known that this Unity and Hope is 100% nonprofit. Anything that was collected was specifically to go to the cost of the lodging or food. And they can go on the venue website to see exactly like what the costs were for things. There was not a penny of profit. And, I just want to make sure that that's known and, that's the intent to continue it, to make sure that it's open, it's free. We'll try to provide some inexpensive lodging options, but the conference itself is always going to be free. And so, we are planning West Coast, in, possibly October of, next year. And other than that, the one other thing, so I'm trying to put together a binder. I was trying to print out a binder. I actually bought all these binders. I got to try to return them. That we wanted to, I didn't have time to print them out, but I figured I'd save some trees anyway and email it. So what we wanted to try to do is anybody who subscribes to the website, can help us collect anything that might be helpful for victims, and we'll email it out in like a rough draft, and people can reply back with anything else they want to add. So, it's going to include stuff like commonly used vocabulary, a book list, useful websites, videos, support and activism shows, conference calls, brief history of mind control, local support group networks. A lot of the stuff that's in like, Terry's website, Derek's newsletter, but just try to, just in case we're missing anything. Lists of all the organizations, groups set up to provide resources for victims, countermeasures, shielding, references for anyone that does scanning for frequencies, a full list of patents, data collection or affidavit collection measures, any type of, other things going on, other conferences or, anything else that, we can all get involved in, any data collection to analyze symptoms, show numbers of victims, legal, political, psychiatric resources that are familiar with what we are going through that could possibly help us. So again, just subscribe to the 2017 unityandhope.com website, and we'll make sure you get that, and can help contribute to it so we can, just make something for everybody together. And that's it. Thank you, Ella.
No problem. Again, Allison. Okay, there was a couple of things I wanted to bring up as well. Hold on. I do want to bring up that Stephen Shellen, the actor, he was like a movie star in the 80s and 90s. He's a TI. He has an event coming up, and I wanted to share it with people. It's going to be this weekend. Matthew's going to go, I know, and maybe some other TIs. Let's see if I can find the email. Where to go? I'm looking for it. Matthew, are you busy in the middle
of
things?
I can try to pull it up.
Okay, because
I have the address. The Stephen Shellen art show, and he's also doing the first sort of like public showing of his movie that was shown at the conference. It's at 7 p.m. from 7 p.m. to 11:30 at 634 Sheridan Avenue in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, 15206. And give me a second. I'll tell you what the event is actually called. I got to pull up my email. But just as a quick response to Allison, everyone you invited to the conference, I like your approach to keep the conference totally open. And this information about Brian came out after the conference anyway, so I'm totally with you on that. So let me see if I can. If we have perps in our midst, we're gonna win this with perps in our midst. It doesn't matter. Okay, so the event is called Recycled and Reclaimed, and if you search Recycled and Reclaimed, a night with special guest, artist, activist, and filmmaker Stephen Shellen is tomorrow night at 7 p.m. You do have to buy tickets to the event. I'm not sure if it's sold out or not. And again, it's at 634 Sheridan Avenue in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, 15206. And I'm going to try to, my goal is to, this time I'll set my camera on high definition because I won't have to worry about filling up my memory card. And I'm going to try to interview non-victims who are at this TI art show on their perceptions, views, and thoughts on this crime that they may be just hearing about. And if there's TIs there, I'll try to interview them. I'm gonna try to make a little YouTube kind of activism video out of whatever material I collect. So once again, it's called Recycled and Reclaimed, tomorrow night, 7 p.m. in Pittsburgh.
Thank you, Matthew. So I lost control of...
Can I say something, Ella?
Sure, Barbara.
Hi. Okay, now I was about 20 minutes late on this call, but I am really disturbed by what's happening here. This phone call reminds me of what happened to Derek. And there was a call when everyone cut Derek down, hours on a call, and everything they said ended up not be true. Wait, let me just finish. So all we've heard here is Desiree's story and what she says the evidence is, and everybody seems to be...
The video, Barbara. Go listen to the video yourself. The evidence is online for you to listen to.
No, I'm not talking about the video. I don't really know why he did the video, but the point is his whole reputation is being destroyed. You're going to put it online, and no one has allowed this man to speak at all for himself.
We have tried to call.
To listen. What?
He's welcome to come on a call and give his point of view. You know,
well, we'll see if he knows about that. Does he know that?
He's welcome to come on the call, okay?
Does he know? Did he know this call was happening?
Well, he could probably guess, considering Desiree was at the conference and the call is tonight.
That's okay. I've said my piece. It really reminds me of what happened to Derek.
He's not
Cooler
Derek.
Heads can prevail, though, Ella, right?
Forward.
This is Cindy. Cooler heads can prevail. We can speak about experiences, but it is kind to let somebody speak in their stead, because I know how that feels, then Derek knows how that feels.
Let me finish my response to Barbara.
Sorry about that.
Okay, Barbara, I understand this. It feels like this whole thing with Derek. Derek has been a leader. He has an organization. This is a man who came into the community who may or may not have brought in good information. I'm going to keep my opinions to myself. But anyways, a lot of things have happened. This is not a man who has integrity or an organization or anything like that. This is a man who came, worked on the other side, and there's a lot of information I'm not telling you, and there's proof. I am withholding it for the sake of somebody else. There is a lot of evidence that you don't know, Barbara. I would never come on a... Yeah.
No, there's a lot going on, and there's a lot of information that it's important that it not be told, okay? So you just have to kind of just listen to what's going on. And, Barbara, you haven't listened to the video
No, I've heard all about it. I mean, Derek has told me.
I know. But so
hearing about it.
I'm not really talking about the video because, I haven't heard.
We are.
No, wait a minute.
Because you don't get on the internet.
All I'm saying is everybody believed Desiree. She just told this incredible story. She said he's a drug addict. He's this, he's that. Okay, everybody's listening to one person, and they're not giving him a chance. That's all I'm saying. Even a court allows it.
Right.
Well,
and
we're trying to tell you there's more behind the story, what we're saying, that we cannot tell, okay? There are things that we know that we cannot say right now. We're protecting people.
And who are you doing this by word of mouth? Are you listening to what somebody's saying, or do you have proof?
There is proof.
There's one thing, there's such thing as one person saying one thing and another person saying another. And, I'm wondering, is this information coming from a person, or do you really have proof, or are you just listening to what somebody is saying? That's what I'm...
Why don't you listen to the video before you bark at us, Barbara? Go listen to the video, and you're going to wonder why is he doing that in the first place. So before
I've heard part of it. I do wonder why, but there's more to it than this. That's what's happening.
There
here.
is.
Ella, can I speak for a second?
Go ahead.
If the phone erupts, could you please let me get this out? If I'd have said something a long time ago, maybe some of this wouldn't even be being taken place right now. I got 35 years experience in manufacturing and in the workplace with better than 1,000 people around me that I was responsible for. And I was just as excited as anybody here when this guy come up. And finally, we got somebody that can give us information from the other side. Well, I listened to this guy, and he did not impress upon me that he had any inside information on anything whatsoever, or that he was even a significant employee where he could make statements and we could believe him. And everything he said, now I haven't heard everything he said, so let me reword that. But everything I heard is nothing that we either didn't already know or we can get off of the internet. So number one, he did not bring anything new to the table that I'm aware of. And then when the guy, I can't remember his name, the neuroscientist.
That's Matthew. Matthew just hung up. He was the gentleman speaking earlier. Yeah.
I wish he was still here so he can correct me if I... Okay, he asked him a very, very legitimate question. And I understand the gray line of interrupting a speaker on the call. He wasn't. It was a very legitimate question, and he couldn't handle it. And basically what it was, he says, there's no scientific explanation for what you're saying whatsoever. And when you do that without backing it up in any way, you discredit the entire group. That is so incredibly true. I wish everybody would hear that. They need to write that down somewhere. Okay, problem number one. And it just went from bad to worse. He couldn't handle that, and it was a legitimate question. And the next one was, and these are the two things that just blew him out of the water with me. He said that he saw on a screen what it looks like when we look at something, and then that goes through our brain waves and is intercepted, and you know, the scenario. They see through our eyes. He said, yes, I have seen that on a screen. He couldn't describe what that looks like. And if he did describe what it looks like, his answer would be obvious. Now, I'm not going to say what it is, because if people knew that, then they could start saying it. But anyway, if somebody says that they're seeing what we see through our eyes and they're seeing it on a screen, there's going to be some very obvious things that they're going to see. He didn't have a clue. As far as I'm concerned, that's a lie caught right there. So at any rate, we don't need all this information to think this guy's credibility is a question. He did it himself. And we need to, I keep saying this to people, I'm going to say it again, then I'll be done. We need to use our brains, analyze, and sort. We can't believe everything that's on the Internet, everything everybody says, or we're all going to get locked up in padded rooms. We've got to use our brains. Anyway, that's all.
Ella, it's Cindy.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that. And, guys, I lost the board, so I can't unmute and mute people. I just wanted you guys to know I'm not avoiding you. I can't see you. I don't know what happened. I didn't even log out or anything.
Yeah, Ella, hi. This is Melinda. I had somebody stay with me for 6 weeks, and it does really hurt when the trust is violated. So regardless, there is Desiree's interpretation of what happened, and that is real for her. We will never know what that is in terms of her feelings. I felt there was credibility. I felt there was value there. But, there was that little edge of wait and see for me. It's very hard when somebody does violate you when they come to your home, whether it's a friend, a guest, especially a stranger. When you've extended yourself, it's very hurtful when they turn out to be a fraud and a thief and everything else. But, again, I agree that we cannot close up. We have to welcome people on any level they come, and then if they blow themselves up as some do on chat and calls and stuff, then you get rid of them. But I would hate to have everybody be distrustful. I mean, you know what I mean? That just distrust ahead of everything else, because then you don't listen, then you don't hear. It's colored. Everything is colored, so you just have to keep an open mind.
Yes, an open mind. That's the kind of the theme of the night is, Thanks, Linda. And then Cindy, I'm sorry, we didn't. I'll let you speak it too, of course. It's important. Thank you for that advice. Is all I'm going to say.
Ella, I'd just like to say that I think it's really a good idea for us to vet very carefully anybody that we put into a position of representing us in any capacity.
Yeah, I agree.
We really need to check them out. Because
we try, but how good a background, and we didn't have anybody. I guess what we can do is maybe ask for people. I don't know. Some people don't have people to talk to. It's so hard to say when someone has that kind of background. You know what I mean? But we'll have to do the best we can. We'll have to
I think you should have been listened to. That's my feeling. I think you should have been listened to. You did check them out.
Thank
you. You did check them out.
And I'm sorry that you got talked out.
Well, got a little mad at me. It's okay.
Well,
people are always mad at us. You can't win.
We need to be very
mad
careful.
At you.
We need to be so careful. I know you can't win. I know that.
Yeah.
But, we need to be careful. We can't. If this guy, if he stayed with us longer, and he actually got on the witness stand, oh my God, they would have made mincemeat out of him. It would have been a nightmare.
Well, he's hurt himself more than we have been hurt. That's the way I feel. This will come back to him somehow, some way. His behavior.
Yeah,
so I always feel it's the guy who commits the bad behavior is the one who's going to suffer later on.
Hello.
Well, thank God God bless Desiree. I'm sending her a message right now.
Yeah.
The fact that she got really brave, and even though
Please let Linda finish. Sorry. Go ahead, Linda. She's really brave. Yeah,
even though it put her in an uncomfortable situation, bless her heart. I mean, she saved us a lot of future problems with this guy, I think.
Yeah.
I just think she's very brave, and God bless her for doing it. That's all.
Yeah, and she has more, there's other things as well, but we have to protect parties. So in the future, there's definitely evidence. There's hard evidence, not hearsay, but we will wait for that. I would never do something without checking things out and even for us, this was bad news. I don't want to share bad news, but, Kyle came to the table and said, this videotape's a little fishy. I talked to a lot of people. Somebody else said something. Another person said something, and it just started coming together, and then Desiree kind of gave us bits and pieces, and it just kind of, Desiree knew all of it, within, by yesterday.
Yeah.
So, but I still think we should still, I'm still going to help people, but I'm not going to be, I was really generous with him, and maybe I shouldn't have been. I think I felt guilty. So I felt
checking him out?
Time.
For finding out the truth? No guilt there. But no, I God bless her for doing it, and the fact that she was spoken to is unfortunate. But I think it will make her safer. The fact that she did talk about it tonight makes her safer, even though somebody broke in. I think it will make her safer if he was so inclined to do something. I think she's now pretty safe. So I hope
this guy, there's certain things that are going on with him. I hope he can get help, that there are other little tangent things that don't have to do with him doing this type of stuff. He has some things I hope he, some health issues I hope he can get worked out. I try not to look at people as all horribly bad and all angelic. People they have different flavors, and I don't want harm for him. I'm really trying to say, that he's a human being, and I don't know why he did it. I wish I knew why he did that. Who knows?
Well, I think that's part of the scary thing. If he's going to do that, that's just so weird. That
well, also if it's the sociopathic personality sometimes does stuff that are really destructive even to themselves.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, it was weird. And good.
I wish I could see my board. I lost the board.
Well,
you know how
I can see it. It looks pretty good.
Well,
names
this is
names
the
are
thing. This is Cindy in Sacramento.
Go ahead.
In as much as he may have some questionable things, he said some valid things, and some people have lies with the truth or truth with the lies. Now, I know that I'm not a specialist. I'm not a scientist. Sometimes we want to explain ourselves what we've been through. I've been through this for 24 years. I am right across from the first apartment that I had, and I was surrounded by 30 to 50 people coming back from my grandmother's funeral and seeing my grandfather, who was bedridden ill. And so this program has steered me right back to the point of where I got theater the first time, and dead rats by my car, and God knows, and break-ins and police knocking at the door in the middle of the night, waking me up, accusing me of things. And this has all gone on, by the way, a mile from my mother's front door for 24 years. So sometimes you want not to justify anybody stealing money or taking money from people like us that are already so downtrodden from all of this and made poor. I've had 5 cars destroyed and, I don't know, 7 computers and maybe 50 cell phones. Okay? So, somebody coming in and maybe lying, it's a big deal. But I'm going to tell you about his story is that I agree with Barbara on the other hand, because people are touchy. We're going through these things, and we want to have a savior. We want this over. Who doesn't want it over? It's stolen 25 years of my life. Okay? So, but listening to this man and listening to what he was saying about the Seattle area and how, if you like him or not, President Obama went into the Seattle PD. That was the first thing he did in office, and he went on to the police calls and had them recorded and kept recording them because there's when I guess his name is Brian, was speaking about the homeless population there. I've been in that city block myself, and I have seen how they abuse people in Seattle. So I was listening to him because I have been there. I was gang stalked up there You got SeaTac, you got the military base. That's all branches of the military up there. It's a hotbed. And the corruption that goes on the military base. Let's forget the huge homeless installation right across from the Seattle PD. Okay? There have been young girls who have been taken onto those bases and have been done all kinds of atrocities to. And they actually harm the homeless there so much that the president of our country started recording the PD there. And my car was illegally searched right in front of the Seattle PD. They had no right to do it, and they did it. And my friend that I was with, my ex-boyfriend, he was homeless at one point. And he told me that there's a lot of stuff going on. And, you know, Ella, that is the highway of tears where a lot of the Indian women are missing, is all up and down the west coast, the northwest into Canada. There's a lot of horrible things going on. So I was listening to him about his experiences. Maybe he's a TI that is overwhelmed and he's trying to explain it the best way he knows how. And the whole thing with Amazon and all of that, I was listening. So it's like, excuse me, we have a lot of infighting sometimes. And to just rail someone and, you know, maybe on one edge he's ill. Maybe he's so, and just hear me with your heart, maybe he's so traumatized that maybe he made some of it up. I mean, I listen to every other TI acts like that, trying to get our point across when we're not scientists, we're not doctors, we're not lawyers. So definitely to give him a chance to give his explanation, but, you know, I have taken activists in. I did, and I ended up with a lot of things destroyed, okay? And my health was destroyed. Helping people in the causes. Be very careful, ladies, or any man, but ladies, be very careful because my home has been compromised some, okay?
And no one has mentioned mind control yet either.
I'm sorry?
I said no one's really mentioned mind control either yet in this picture.
Oh, with his story or in general?
Whatever is happening with him, you know?
Yeah, because MK Ultra.
I'm gonna be quiet. It's obvious how I.
Hello.
Go ahead.
I listened
there
to
is
the interview.
There, you know, I mean, I agree, Barbara. That's why I was wondering the why. It's like, why is he doing it? That could be part of it. You know, we don't know. So.
Because that's a horrible area up there. I'm telling you, it is so. They moved the fort from my hometown up there, switched everything. They were pulling all of the tanks out of the old base.
Yeah.
Forward, and people were seeing that. There was like a parade of tanks going through town, and people were wondering what's going on, you know. And so they were moving forward to Fort Lewis. And Fort Lewis, I've had their cars outside my house, outside my apartment, with Fort Lewis on them. The last apartment complex I lived in, and my grandfather was terribly abused on Fort Ord. So you know. Seattle is a hotbed, and I just, if he is real on any level, I feel sorry. Because there's a lot going on up there. It's terrible.
Yeah,
my nephew just left the military, and he was stationed up there. I have family stationed up there still, and I worry every single day that my great niece that was just born is on that 4-pronged or 5-pronged military base right now. If you don't think my great niece is up there, I just can't sometimes sleep. And if that guy came out of there, I mean, I don't know if anybody else has been to Seattle. I have, and it's bad. It's bad.
Yeah.
This is money.
Hello, can I speak?
I'm going to go ahead and turn off the recording if we're going to get into the support part of it. Does anybody want to say anything else they want on the recording?
I do.
Okay, go ahead.
How do you do? Hi, Youre. It's Lauren. I'm so sorry, everybody in the group. Hi. I know we might have had difficulties in the past, but I did hear the interviews. I didn't know all the particulars of this man, but what concerned me as I was listening carefully, it was mentioned several times by people, savior and also hero, and that kind of clicked and bothered me because, one thing, I really do feel hero is nothing but a sandwich. We have to, I know we're desperate and we're terrorized, but that can also make our guards down. And I know the woman just mentioned mind control. I can assure you, as I stress all the time, your brain still moves. I was not floored by him, but I'm suspicious by nature anyway. I really am. And I know I'm the type of woman I need a lot of time. I open up slow like a flower in a season. Time. I'm not so fast. To trust. To give all. And I don't believe a human being is ever a hero or savior. Absolutely not. So I would say to be very cautious. We can want, but the things that we, put on another person to perpetuate and save us are probably the attributes we have within ourselves. All the things we have right here. And that's the only thing I want to say. Your brain still moves.
But what about fact? Because we're dealing with people's character. And I would, be trepidatious before I started defaming or libeling someone.
Well, I think they mentioned they had proof. They had solid proof.
I know, but you know what? I want to say that somebody thought they had proof against me, and I went and did the homework. And I did not steal from that person, and it's coming straight from the corporate office of that particular business. And still people don't want to believe. And so, it can go to court. It can go to court.
But it's hard. I understand it's hard, but we are terrorized. We have to take ourselves. And the main thing is everyone really trust me. I say it on my calls. Think. Your brain still moves. I am so tired of these shysters and charlatans coming within the group, promises greater and grander than Santa Claus. They're all like Dr. Frankenstein giving us one sheet of the journal for the secrets of life and death, and I want the goddamn book. I'm done.
Fact is fact. Fact is fact. So we don't like when we're defamed.
He did not share enough to perpetuate the group. He did not share everything I know when I was a gang stalker. Even to the point, this is how we copy your phones. This is how we follow you. Hey,
maybe he's afraid. Maybe they threatened his family. They could have threatened his family, his mother.
I'm done. Why come to the group if you can't give it all? I don't want the one sheet of the secrets of life and death. I want the journal.
And I agree with that. I agree, but people do get defamed. People do get defamed, and they're not. They're not being. I know. But we have to be careful. We have to be careful.
I'm going to end the recording part, and we'll continue on with the call. Is that the truth will come out? We were the flags. There's been a lot of flags, but I believe he's targeted, and I empathize with him on that level. We just got a little time's got to come, and we'll figure out more. And when the timing, once we get the okay, we will discuss the hard evidence. But nobody, at least many people that I'm close to, would never come forward and say anything if there wasn't a lot of evidence. And the recording itself raises flags. So the why is what we don't know. We don't know why he came to the group, why he did this, why. So that's the thing we have to figure out, and that's going to take a little time. So on that note, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording, and we can have an open discussion.
Can I say something real quick, Ella?
Sure, please do.
I want to say something too.
I got to say something. I've been trying to get on. I wasn't mute. I was not unmuted for a couple hours. I know how busy it is, but I'm really close to Des. I'm close to Doris and Mitch, and I just wonder if maybe that he was threatened, or that he was trying to protect Des by discrediting himself so he could get out of there to make sure she was safe. I mean, you never know if he was trying to do the right thing and protect Des and get out of the situation, because it's so blatant and the motive is so bizarre that
and the discrediting is so obvious that I just wonder if he was trying to take care of Des, maybe take care of the community, because when Mitch does she resources and research stuff, and she says that a lot of the stuff he said was right on the spot. She's impeccable with her investigating research. So I just wanted to throw that out there as a possibility that in some way he was trying to protect the community, because there could be something coming down the pipe, and maybe, God, hopefully not, that something happens to him, because maybe, he's trying to be a sacrificial lamb to protect the community. There's always another angle and another opportunity to look and see, well, what is the motive? That's what everyone has to find out. What would be the motive to discredit himself after all this time? Thank you, Ella. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Ella, I want to say something too. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello. Okay. Sorry, I was trying to get in earlier, and then I realized I had put mute on my phone, like not the *6, my actual phone I muted. But so this is Hope, and I just want to say I actually think this was, definitely not something that we would want to invite upon ourselves, but actually a very helpful experience, because a lot of people saw this happening. A lot of people evaluated things and, took a position internally about him in one way or the other. And I think it's a really great example of how we should have open minds, but also healthy skepticism at all times. And I think that's like this is how one should approach life. And if you're all trusting or all, defended, those are actually, to me, the flip sides of the same coin.
Discernment.
So the fact that we actually had this happen and that we can talk about it and we can learn from it, and as you're saying, more facts will come forward with time, and he, of course, has an opportunity to defend himself. This makes us a more rational group and a more measured group. So I think, even though it's very unfortunate that this has happened in many regards, actually for us as a community going forward and representing ourselves to the world, it probably is a good thing it happened. So that's all I wanted to say.
Hello?
Hi.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I just wanted to say I agree with the lady who just spoke that this can be very helpful for our community to point out that sometimes there's mistakes that are being made, and to think about carefully before we send people money. I have sent someone money before, a woman, because it's mostly women who are suffering from this because we're the most vulnerable, but she's living on the streets and really suffering, and so I sent her what little I have. I'm a single mother of a disabled child who's living on food stamps, but we have to just be more discerning and careful about where we send our money to, because number one, when I suffered from this for about 8 years, and then when I found out about you others, the first thing I didn't think was to exploit you for money if I had information or not. The first thing that I wanted to do was just to come and embrace and meet people. So when someone comes at the gate, first thing that they're asking, and they're setting up a PayPal, that should set off a light bulb that there's something not right here, because these people know that this is a community that is exploited and that is hurting. So if they're ever coming just asking for money first day, then you know that something's not right. And so I just wanted us to start thinking about why are we giving this person money? Even if we do, we don't need to reward anyone for information, but as far as Brian goes, did he give us any steps to how he was going to free us? Any information that helped us in any way to free ourselves? And I don't see anything like other people said. He hasn't contributed anything very useful to the community. And maybe the next time, it's just like Matthew said, I see a lot of what happens in this community. A lot of people jump on a bandwagon looking for someone to give us hope. But like he said, it's going to be a slow process, and things like that convention annually is going to help to free us and bring more vision to what's going on. but we have to stop jumping on bandwagons and hoping in one person. And maybe we should come up with just like a woman was talking about, a protocol for how we conduct ourselves, our dialogue as targets to keep people from getting locked up. And maybe there needs to be also a group who will decide how much money, when someone does come along who we trust and is helpful, how much money to give that person, so that even if you do give them a certain amount, people will not be taken advantage of, because that money could have been more useful to people like the lady who's on the street every night to help her people who are truly hurting, or for endeavors like starting an office or starting a safe facility for us, or even for people when they want to move. We had more like-minded targets who live closer to each other. Like me, I know a lot of reputable people who are affluent, who trust me. And if I had another target living in my community, they would be able to back up and solidify what I tell the people. So our funds, whenever, as poor as we are and the struggle that we go through, all of our money needs to be used the best in the community to be brought together and not go into someone who's greedy and deceptive into their pocket. But I'm not insulting anybody. I'm great. It's good that this came out. We know better, and I hope that we'll think better. Stop jumping on a bandwagon. Don't put all your apples in one basket. And like one good friend, who's in this community says, if there's too many yes men, that's when you're in trouble. Don't pat everybody on the back and give them accolades, especially if they're not helping this community. Thank you for letting me speak, Ellen.
Well, thank you, Renita. Thank you for your wonderful words. You always have very well-spoken things to add. Okay, on that note, I'm going to go ahead and end the recording, and we can carry on and have our support call.
I think one of the biggest successes is that we just came together as a community, cooking the meals. We were carpooling each other, helping people get to and from the event. So we all chipped in. I mean, I don't even know how I would have done it without the help of the kitchen crew, Jay and Margaret and Kate and Carol and, obviously like Sean and Matt and Peter for their like AV stuff and, Anne and, everybody that just chipped in and helped out so much. We had live presentations from Matt Aaron, David Boyd, Sean Andrews, Desiree Foley, Midge, Peter, Nathan Weatherden, Frank Allen, Neil Chevry, Richard Lighthouse, Kate Lighthouse. We had a video presentations from Paulo Fiora, Dr. Paul Marco and Mindy, Karen Stewart, Magnus Olson, Shellen, Ella Terry Brewer, Brian Cochran, Derek Robinson, John Hall, Roseanne Marie Schneider, approximately 60 to 70. I should try to go back through and try to get like a more exact head count, but I know a lot more people. There was like 125, I think, that RSVP'd, so there was definitely some fallout. We had lots of extra food left over.
Wow.
People, attended the event. There's a lot of people that kind of came and went. Like not everybody stayed for the whole time. So it was both Saturday and Sunday. So like I said, I'd love to hear feedback. What people think was successful. I think the agenda could have been a bit more organized. We had an agenda typed out and we really didn't follow it. There was, a lot of late video submissions. Last minute people that were supposed to present that didn't, and then last minute people, who came that were a huge surprise and excellent contribution. And then, people that provided videos kind of last minute or, people that said they were going to provide and didn't. So, we kind of like adjusted the agenda on the fly. Also, many of us, myself included, we did somewhat feel for our safety. There was a little bit of an issue. There was I think it really kind of stemmed around some of the misinformation that was passed around about the conference. So myself personally, I was, kind of targeted and harassed by, it was pretty much like just one specific person really that, was, very adamant that I was somebody that I wasn't, so I just tried to, stay strong. I just told myself, okay, he's just being tortured like myself, he's paranoid, scared, doesn't know who to blame. I understand. I've been there. I've been in his shoes, especially the first year when you're first getting hit and you have no idea who the hell is doing this to you or why. And you lash out and it's like this. I think I've kind of progressed from, you go from trust no one in the very beginning. Like you literally think everybody, your family, your boss, everybody around you is the one that's doing it to you. I've kind of come to a point in the past 2 years where now I just trust everybody from like the other extreme, I think. But I understand because I was there too at one point, So, just try to talk rationally and, I guess it is what it is. We might have to look next year at like maybe a little bit of additional security or, something just for some extra protection if it does get bigger. Right. But other than that, I truly hope that people got out of it and, thought it was helpful. I think just any other kind, I'm hoping more people will follow suit and do, a lot of people are starting to do more protests. I saw Jami Ali was doing something in April. I was trying to RSVP for that. I think the more of us that just start doing active stuff, getting out there, the better. So if there's anybody that's doing anything that, wants help, please let me know. And, we just got to continue the momentum from here.
Some people don't get Derek's letter because you have to pay in order to get the newsletter. So can you give a quick synopsis? Basically, I'm sure you're probably saying something very similar to what you said, but I haven't read it either. So. Yeah, if you give me a minute, I could probably pull it up. But, yeah, if anybody has, in the meantime, any ideas or, here it is right here. I can read it if you want. There was a picture that got sent out of everybody that was there. I saw that. Oh, that was wonderful. It was so nice to see faces. Here is one letter. I don't know who wrote this letter. Many connections were made. Seems to be the feeling of community since this event happened. It's not surprising that this is the most important work accomplished when we meet. Most important work is accomplished when we meet in person. Dr. Matt Aaron and Peter Rosenholm were great at hosting and keeping the event flowing smoothly. Margaret did a tremendous job again in helping with the organization, as well as the kitchen work volunteers. Organized running smoothly. Neil's song played the guitars enjoyed by all, some to the point of tears. Meals and accommodations, most of all networking, camaraderie were what impressed the most people about this event. Then there was an after party at Peter's Place in Rhode Island where people fellowshipped a couple days further, lounging at the beach, partying, socializing, which is becoming a regular hangout for New England TIs. All of this course is wonderful for the morale and the suffering individuals in the community. Everyone is now looking forward to the next year's conference, which will probably be held in the West Coast next October. I now share with you the following. So this is my email. So just an update for the past weekend's conference. I feel the conference was a huge success. I'd love to hear any constructive criticism for those that attended. Handed out an anonymous survey of what people liked, didn't like, what we could do better next year. I didn't get many back. I got a few back, and I did get some ideas from them. I didn't notice anyone that I specifically thought was a perp or an agent or, whatever. But I don't really know how you're able to tell necessarily. So, I think that since it's free and it's open to the public, it's going to be, challenging to really vet people. But as long as everybody is respectful of everybody and, many did seem a bit on edge. So that was kind of the one concern that, there was a lot of misinformation leading up to the event. And there was kind of a level of paranoia, I think, in the beginning. And then kind of people, realized that it was a safe environment. We did have some media coverage. So there was a woman from Wired magazine who's writing an article on targeted individuals. So I'm hoping we get painted in a credible light. And if there's anybody that really wants to share their story, get in touch with her, get in touch with me, and, maybe I can put you guys in touch as well.
I was scammed. That was almost 2 years ago. To see them and to know that this is real and true and that we don't deserve this. I mean, it's incredible fellowship and to share ideas and to know that we can do this. We can come together and we can do this as a group and we can prevail. This is just one in the series of many conferences. I just know it. And so, Allison, my hat off to you because I know you're a young mother. I know you have a full-time job. And I just can't thank you enough. I'm just so grateful. I actually just got home today. I actually went home with Kate Ryan, which I have stayed with Kate before. And we just couldn't say enough about the conference. It was just incredible. I met so many wonderful people, and who I know will be lifelong friends. The only thing that I wish I had more time is I wish we had more time to sit around over coffee and chit-chat and share stories and ideas, and be it informal. So maybe the next one we can have a session of donuts and coffee and have some non-structured time. And that's the only thing I can say. But also there was one person there that was, giving Allison a little bit of problem. It is such a disservice for anyone to try to do that, divide and conquer, to keep TIs apart. I was so upset with what I saw on Facebook. Why would anyone go on Facebook and try to destroy what Allison was trying to do and calling people perps? That just made me so angry and irresponsible. Okay, so someone who read that then kind of kicked out at Allison. It was so wrong. And guess what? Somebody said that we were going to lose our souls. No, our souls are more enriched for being there. And so I wish that people wouldn't listen to all that disinformation. I hope that we all continue to move forward as a community, knowing that we can overcome this and we are going to win. So those are just my thoughts. But, everyone had each other's backs there. We had one lady who was driving in from New York Saturday night. She had just lost her father-in-law, had just buried him traumatically. It was a traumatic situation. And she got lost, and a bunch of us hopped in a car. And Steve Baisden, I hope you all get to know him. He's a wonderful person. It was his first time to really meet anybody. We all went and found this TI out on the interstate and brought her back. And it's like Steve said, no one gets left behind. And we can't. Yeah. We have to help each other.
Oh, yeah. Honestly, shame on you for trying to keep people from coming to this conference. And then one of the people that read that was like kind of threatening, saying, I read you guys are perps, and it's scary.
Awful. I'm just scary. So angry that happened.
Shame on anybody who would do that to a community when it was successful, it was informative, it was bonding, it was amazing. I was there, I had a friend, a sweet woman, she had me on speaker. The whole time I could hear everything, and I could, and I was talking to people, and, it would have been lovely to be there myself, but I have physical limitations. Triumph Over Targeting podcast. It's October 26, 2017. Tonight we have some interesting topics to discuss, and first off we're going to discuss the Unity and Hope Conference, and we have Allison here, and she's going to share kind of a review of how it went and what else we can do for next year, and she's just going to give some input on that. From what I understand, it was very successful, so we're very, very, very proud of her. I'm personally just delighted she's part of the community, and I'm so proud of her for what she's done. So hi, Allison.
Hey, Ella, thanks. You're so sweet.
No, it's just the truth, and I know so many people feel the same way. Really quickly, though, if you're new to the call, please stay on, and we will get some additional support, some additional TalkShoe podcast numbers, and hopefully some helpful links and websites. This is a solutions and educational-based podcast, but the views and opinions of my guests are not necessarily my own personal views and opinions. My goal is that everyone can obtain something out of tonight, especially a feeling of empowerment. If you have any suggestions, comments, questions, or especially if you're new to the call and in need of additional support, please don't hesitate to email me at tiangel2016@gmail.com. Again, that's tiangel2016@gmail.com. If you'd like to participate in the conversation, you star 8, and when I come to you and I get to your to where you're at, you'll hear a prompt letting you know you're being unmuted, so you don't have to sit there and wait. And then at that point, you can join the conversation. So, anyway, thank you, Allison.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I don't have much to say. I kind of. Derek shared a letter that I had just sent, to some different people in the community. I think overall the conference went really well. There was, I'd love to open up the floor, and I sent out a anonymous survey thing I handed out just during the conference just for feedback. I'd love to open up and just like see if there's, what people thought was good, wasn't good, if there's anything that people thought that was shared that was misinformation or not accurate, or, it does become challenging. Sometimes I feel like there's a lot of opposing viewpoints, but I think the whole point is just to open the floor up to everybody and anybody who, feels like they have some good ideas to share, some resources, and, just try to combine our efforts. I mean, that's the whole point, is just to work together in a cohesive manner, to collaborate, to, work together as a community. I mean, I said one of the main things that, I think that I got from the conference is I no longer feel like a targeted individual. I feel like a targeted, not even a targeted community. I feel like a empowered community. I think that if we just join together and collaborate and share our resources and ideas, I think we're much better off to try to figure out what this is, to try to fight back and expose what's happening to us. So, and just, if anyone ever has anything that they're doing, that you want help with, that, please let me know. I want to help everybody else's efforts to fight the best that I can. If anybody has ideas of how to fight better, if anybody has ideas of things that we can do differently, anybody's doing like an affidavit collection or active coming together is helpful. Shows and conference calls and everything are great, but, call me old-fashioned, but I think there is a value in face-to-face interaction with people, and then, as to the presentations and debates, like I was saying, the technology involved is very challenging, and it's difficult for us to know, like, what is accurate and what is, information sometimes. So I think the point is to just listen to all the viewpoints, be respectful, and then, we just kind of form our own opinions from there on what we think is accurate and what we think is helpful, and just, share all the resources and the research that we've all done. And, together, I think we're better positioned to try to figure everything out and figure out what we can do to protect ourselves and expose it. And again, I think one of the most positive things that came out of it was just, the feeling of coming together as a community, making lifelong friendships and helping each other, besides the few misguided people, who would receive some information online or through misguided emails. There was so many positive vibes and just feeling of community and togetherness.
Yeah, everyone was so happy to meet people, and it's so important, the happiest day of my targeting experience was when I went to the library to go to a support group, and I had talked to a woman, and she met me there, and it was the first one I saw. It just was so special, and we still have a really special bond ever since then, and it really is a special experience to do so and to see people. So I'm just really happy, and again, I'm so proud of you. I admire you. You have so many other things going on. You have a job. You're targeted, you have a family, and you're doing all this, and I'm just so impressed, and I think the whole community is just, it's just the truth, really. I'm really impressed. And we do have someone on the call. She can't stay too long, but I'd want to discuss the conference for a little bit more here, and then we can go to Desiree, who has some things that we're going to share with everybody. She does have to go somewhere, so we actually kind of crunched on time, but we can kind of go back and forth if it's okay. So I also have Yaya on the line. Do you want to jump in, Yaya?
Yeah, I think we owe Allison a great deal of gratitude because she did it, right? I mean, it looked like it wasn't going to come together, and by golly, she held, she was steadfast, and she did it, and so I think it was quite remarkable. And the people who showed up were just, I can't say enough about it, to fellowship with fellow TIs and people that you've been conversing with over the Internet and talking to over the phone. To see in person is just incredible. And guess what? Everyone is so normal and so nice and caring. All the way down from, like you said, Allison, to everybody in the kitchen, to Matt, who's just a joy, and Sean. They all worked so hard. All the guest speakers were wonderful, but no one would ever guess that there were some little glitches. I think we kind of went on the fly, and everything really came together in a very classy, wonderful way. But more importantly, friendships were made. Incredible bonds were created. To see someone face to face and to hug them. I mean, I got to see the ladies that I was scanned with. I had not seen them since I